All right. So obviously, most of the show today we're devoting to last night. Last night, like I said, last night I slept easy knowing at least we got one. All right. The Panthers, they got their one. The Heat didn't come through. Sometimes you can't be a greedy pig. All right. Evan Cohen, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio, Morning Men. Everybody knows my favorite show. Great Heat fan, representing the Heat fans up there on national radio. And I'm wondering, after the game last night, Evan, are you mad at the loss? And if you're mad, who/what are mad about?
Not mad at the loss at all. Totally agree with you, Zaz. I'm 100% on board with you. I was not upset to a point that I woke up this morning and I'm like, why am I not upset? Am I now a cocky Heat fan again? Has that now reappeared? But I actually think the Knicks fan should be way more concerned than the Heat fan after last night. Think about what the Knicks had to go through in order to beat the Heat without Jimmy, without Tyler, without Oladipo. The two bad calls on the three-pointer, obviously, which should not have been counted because of the Bam foul, and obviously the 24-second violation last night. And the Heat took that game to the end, even after the Randall step over on the line. The Heat kind of were in it a little bit. So I'm not mad at all at the Heat. I will say, and I said it the last time I joined you, where is Bam? Seriously, when are we going to get the Bam game? I've been asking for this Bam game for weeks now. And I'm so sick and tired of referencing that game from years ago where he dropped 41 against the Nets when Jimmy doesn't play. I've referenced that so many times because I'm just waiting for that guy. And I understand people love the season he had this year. I get it. And he was great. But great at what exactly relative to the ultimate success of this team? Because right now, he's playing like a player that I would look at and say is at best the third best player on a championship team. At best. Right? And let's be honest. Like, you've hated Lowry's play all season. You have been vocal about it on the ZASLOW Show 2.0. You hate it.
Yeah.
But he's been way better than Bam. Caleb's been way better than Bam. Sorry, I need to wipe my nose here. Little cold scenario. But I'm sorry. So if you want to get me going on negativity, which I think you just have, Bam's my target here.
Yeah, I'm not angry at anything. I felt the same way as you did last night and this morning where, wow, I'm not mad. That's kind of weird that I'm not mad at a Heat playoff loss because I left that game saying, and part of it I think was when the camera panned to Jimmy and Jimmy's got that grin and like, that was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, so that helped my feelings a lot. Where it's, he's playing Saturday, and we're getting both games in Miami, and you guys are in big trouble, and everybody knows it. Like, I think the Knicks are in big trouble after look at that lineup we had there last night. Evan out on the floor in the fourth quarter: Vincent, Lowry, Robinson, Martin, Zeller. All right, and we're leading the game by like 6 points at that point. So I do not feel bad. I'm not angry. The Bam thing, I think I just don't have the energy right now to continue being angry about Bam. I think the part that I would be most annoyed about with Bam is, again, post game yesterday, he got to the podium and did the thing where this loss is on me. I need to be better. Well, it's okay. If you actually feel that way, stop allowing this to happen. Like, I wasn't going to say anything like that unless he came out and said what he said post-game, because otherwise I'm now officially of the opinion, listen, he is what he is. Maybe we want him to be more than what he is. The thing he is still pretty damn good. He is what he is. But if he's going to actually come out post-game and say, I need to be better, I blew it, this loss is on me, stop allowing that to happen.
Well, it also may be lip service. It's like, hey, I'm a max player. I'm the one who's been out there saying I want to be like Udonis and Wade. The organization has been unbelievably vocal. The organization previous to the postseason was more vocal in favor of Bam than they were Jimmy. I don't even think there's any debate on that. Like, they love Bam. And I'm not saying there's not a reason to love Bam, but I think we should believe him when he's telling us who he is, because he's not a go-to guy. That's just not what he is. On defense, he is, right? But they need an offensive go-to guy. They bring in all the undrafted guys initially. Why? Because they can play defense, not because they can play offense, right? Duncan Robinson may be the exception. Max Strus a little bit, but Max Strus is not as bad on defense as everybody kind of makes him out to be. I don't think, at least. Haywood Highsmith, defense. Caleb Martin, defense, right? Gabe Vincent, 3-and-D kind of player, and he's fearless now in these moments. But they need Bam on offense, and that's not who he is. So, like, yeah, I think part of it is it's almost on you and I for even coming on the air today and saying we were disappointed in Bam not scoring more. That's just not who he is.
Right.
That's just not who he is.
That's how I feel. Yeah, that's exactly.
But then, maybe Zaz, maybe he's hurt, which I know he is a little bit, but he's out there. He's playing. He
wasn't even on the injury report. Like, I think he's okay now, actually.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, when Isaiah Hartenstein does what he does in terms of the offensive rebounds, I got to put that on Bam. Now, by the way, can I bring up something I want to get going? You and I are not Knicks guys. But why have Knicks fans not named Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein the Hart Foundation? Why is that not their nickname? No, they're the foundation of the team. Those two guys are Heat-type players, right? Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein should be wearing Heat uniforms. How are they not the Hart Foundation? Where's Jimmy Anvil when you need him?
That's very well. He's not alive, but
that's right.
That's really good. That's really good. If I was a Knicks fan, thank God I'm not, I would be pushing that very, very hard. Josh Hart and Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Hart Foundation. That's very, very good. By the way,
and it's spelled. Both of them are Hart. So they're even spelled the right way.
Is it not the weirdest thing, by the way, that Bret Hitman Hart, real name Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, real name Jim Neidhart, how, I mean, they ended up being related through marriage, but they're not related by blood, and their name is Hart and Neidhart, and their families get together. That's weird, Evan.
Yeah. So are you saying, Zaz, that maybe all tag teams historically should consider ways of ultimately getting to be related?
Yes.
Sisters, brothers, whatever it may be, that it should be instructed within the tag team. You must be related.
If you have a new tag team partner, you have to give up your sister to them. That's what you have
to
do.
Tugboat and Typhoon, the natural disasters. Here's my sister.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk about the officiating situation, which is a big topic of conversation, obviously, with Heat fans. I never care when the report comes out pregame. Scott Foster is officiating the game tonight. The Heat are 0-4 with Scott Foster officiating. Evan, do you care about that kind of stuff? I never care.
I don't normally. I don't think that's why the Heat lost last night, but I do think two bad calls were made to put the Heat in a bad position to come back or keep a lead. I tweeted last night out of Co Radio a little quib of the Scott Foster thing. Chris Paul's on the Heat because,
let me hear it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that you're wrong on anything you're saying. I think last night it's tough though to look at that game and not think there were two bad calls. Now, maybe I don't know the rules in full, and I never blame Spo on anything because he's so damn good. Should Spo have reviewed the 24-second violation?
He was asked after the game. He said you're not able to challenge that.
Okay, so then that's why I asked that question the way it was. So, yeah, I think then that definitely is something that, well, then they should look at that. If a ball hits the rim and it's a 24-second violation,
it was listen, I know you can look at it and say that it grazed the rim. I'm sorry. I'm watching it in real time. It was so obvious to me it hit the rim. That was a very obvious not shot clock
violation. Changed directions. It changed directions.
It was
Here's
so
what I'm
obvious.
Nervous about, though. Here's what I'm nervous about. I, like you, have had the mentality of, oh, Jimmy in Game 6, look out. He's giving the middle fingers to the crowd. He's eating popcorn on the bench. He took the jacket off. He's wearing the tank top. He looks the way he does. He's ready. I feel like almost that means the Knicks win Game 3 and then the Heat win the rest of the series. It's almost like they win. You know what I mean? Like
that'd be fine,
so
but
much
I do not feel that way though. I think the Heat are coming home last night, today, whatever it is, feeling great about themselves moving forward. I do. I think it's a super confident team. Kind of crazy last night. We're in the middle of the second round. It's only their second loss of the postseason.
Well, I'm so glad you said that. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, they're 5-2 right now over their last 7. How many do you think they're going to win?
Great on the road. Great on the road.
Yeah. How many do you think they're going to win in? 5 or 6 or 7?
I don't think it's going to be 7.
Okay. So what do you want to say? 6? They win that Friday night in Miami?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say 6. So that means that they would be 8-3 in an 11-game stretch. Did they have that record in an 11-game stretch at any point during the course of the season? Was there any 11
Probably, but you got to look
8-3?
Probably, but you got to look. Yeah, well, there was a point. Remember, look, they were like 4 games under 500 the first half of the year, and then eventually they found themselves 7 over. They had to have had a good stretch at some point, right?
Yes, but like 8-3. It's so weird with them because obviously they were terrible against bad teams and good against good teams, which is obviously we're lucky as Heat fans that they only play good teams in the playoffs. The question is, are the Knicks good enough for the Heat to beat them? As stupid as that sounds, with the way that this team has been, the Bucks are good enough, the Celtics are good enough, the Sixers are good enough for the Heat to actually beat them. Are the Knicks good enough for the Heat to wake up? And I think that it's a different team now, thankfully. I think they're all playing with the confidence. I think one guy specifically, we saw it last night, and this is a great thing. I think Caleb Martin thinks he's Jimmy Butler, and that is an awesome thing. I really think he thinks he's Jimmy Butler.
And they have him on a great contract.
For 1 more year. Yeah.
Oh, it's 1 more or 2 more?
I believe 1 more and then a player option, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I went to that place last night. You know how much I am with like the trades and the contracts, and I love that stuff. I'm like, well, maybe Gabe Vincent, they should resign for big money. Yep. Maybe Strus, like, I don't know if I actually believe that, but I went to that place last night. I just think last night, it's not a win in the actual win column, but as a Heat fan,
I feel fine.
That should give you more confidence.
Yep.
I had more confidence after game 2 than I did after game 1. I actually didn't like the way they played in game 1. I wasn't thrilled with them in game 1 at all.
I feel really good. Why don't you go to any of the games? I mean, I know New York is really big. It's probably a pain in the ass for you to get to the Garden, but this is big time. Like, why don't you go?
I'm going to tell you why, and it's a pathetic reason. I was in my room watching the Milwaukee series with my same Heat shirt I probably got at a free giveaway in 2005 when I lived in Florida full time.
At Publix.
And they were winning a lot, and I don't want to disrupt the mojo. In my head, if I go to the games, they're going to lose. Now, last night they lost, so maybe that switches it up a little bit for, when they get back to New York. But I'm just saying, there's some part of me that I don't want to switch up the mojo, and if I go as press, can't cheer.
No, you can't go as press. No.
Yeah.
No, you got to get a ticket.
Well, I agree.
Yeah. You cannot go as press.
No, well, you pay for it. You pay for it. Well, Sheets and Giggles send me like they send you.
That's right. I don't know. Maybe they'll send. I could say, hey, I need a +1, and then you come to the game with me. Maybe they'll do that. How about that?
There we go. We got something there. And by the way, I have another thing in terms of the superstitions.
Yeah.
The Heat record when you're on Le Batard local hour day of game is what? They got a huge win last time you were on.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. So if you're Dan, if you're John, if you're Mike and Roy and everybody involved, I need Zaz on the local hour every Heat home game.
How about that? Okay. All right. There you go. That's right. Get your shit together, Le Batard show. We're in this together. Let's do it for the team.
And there is nothing better than Mike Ryan imitating Dog. I mean, it's the single best imitation there is because you don't even realize you're imitating Dog, and he's imitating you imitating Dog. And I want that as much as possible on Heat game days.
Excellent job, Evan. I'm glad you feel the same way that I do. Like, I'm not upset, which, oh my God, like 16, 17-year-old me after the Heat lose to the Knicks in a playoff game would be ashamed that I'm not upset today.
Oh, well, I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story quickly. I know you got to run, but my 9-year-old, huge Heat fan, in my room watching the game last night, slamming down the bed, throwing pillows, so upset I kicked him out of the room. I said, I can't have this. This is too much for me. Go to sleep. He was too emotional. But you're right. That's the way that we would have been. Yep. I think cooler heads prevail right now, and we're old.
So true. Evan Cohen, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio, Morning Men. Everybody knows my favorite show every morning, 6 to 9 a.m. Great job, Evan. Thank you, pal.
Thank you.